Let me ask you a question, and I want you to be truly honest with yourself. Have you ever been held hostage by a number? The number in your bank account, the total on a medical bill, or the amount due on a credit card statement? A number that dictates your mood, steals your sleep, and whispers fears into your heart in the dead of night. This is financial anxiety. It's more than just worry, it's a thief. It robs you of your peace. It steals the joy from your present moments. And it clouds your vision of the future with a fog of what-ifs. What if I lose my job? What if the car breaks down? What if I can't provide for my family's future? For so many of us, this anxiety has become a constant, unwanted roommate in our minds, and we've simply learned to live with its oppressive presence. But what if I told you this was never God's intention? What if the solution to this thoroughly modern problem isn't found in a modern solution, but in an ancient secret, a divine technology for the soul, designed by God Himself to dismantle anxiety at its very root? Thousands of years ago, in the middle of an impossible desert, God gave His people a masterclass in financial peace. It came in the form of a mysterious bread from heaven called manna, and today we are going to uncover that ancient secret, because the same God who provided for them then is waiting to bring that same peace to you now. To understand this secret, we must first transport ourselves to that desert. Imagine the scene. You are one of over 1 million people, recently escaped from generations of slavery. Your former life was brutal, but it was predictable. Now, you are in the middle of nowhere. All you see in every direction is sand, rock, and a relentless sun. You have no food, no water source, no economy, no plan. Your past is gone and your future is a terrifying blank. This isn't just a lack of resources, it's a crisis of existence. The people began to murmur, to complain, saying to their leaders, "It would have been better to die in Egypt, where we had pots of meat and all the bread we wanted." Their fear was so great, they romanticized their own slavery. It is in this moment of peak human anxiety that God intervenes. But He doesn't just deliver a warehouse full of food. He introduces a system, an economic model based on principles that are completely alien to us. He says, "I will rain down bread from heaven for you." And every morning, like dew on the conquered ground, the manna appeared. But with this miraculous provision came a set of baffling rules. Rule 1, gather only what you need for today. Rule 2, do not save any of it for tomorrow. Rule 3, anyone who disobeys and hoards the manna will find it as bread worms and begun to stink by morning. In these 3 counterintuitive rules, God reveals His secret to financial peace. Let's break down these 3 ancient keys. Key number 1, the mandate of daily trust. The command to gather only enough for one day was a radical act of spiritual therapy. As former slaves, the Israelites were hardwired with a scarcity mindset. Their instinct was to grab and hold on to whatever they could. God needed to rewire their hearts. He was teaching them to untether their security from a visible stockpile and anchor it to an invisible but utterly faithful source. This is the very essence of the prayer Jesus would later teach. Give us this day our daily bread. He didn't teach us to pray, fill our barns for the next decade. He taught a model of daily active dependence. Your anxiety thrives on projecting scarcity into the future. God's peace thrives on recognizing His sufficiency in the present. This doesn't mean we don't plan. It means our plans are held with an open hand, trusting in the daily faithfulness of the planner. Key number 2, the poison of a fearful heart. Now, what happened to those who disobeyed? Their hoarded manna didn't just disappear, it became disgusting. It rotted, it bred worms, it stank. This is a visceral and powerful metaphor for what happens to resources that are accumulated out of fear instead of faith. When our motivation for saving and accumulating is a deep-seated fear that God will fail us, that money itself becomes a source of spiritual rot in our lives. It doesn't bring peace, it brings more anxiety. We worry about the stock market. We stress over its security. We become possessive. The thing we thought would bring security becomes the very source of our insecurity. It's the equivalent of obsessively checking your bank account, seeking peace in a number on a screen, when true peace only comes from trusting the God who provided the number. God was teaching that the heart posture behind our savings matters, more than the amount being saved. And that leads us to the third and most grace-filled key, the promise of Sabbath abundance. This is where the beauty of God's system shines. He wasn't a tyrant demanding a miserable hand-to-mouth existence. He was a loving Father teaching a rhythm of trust and rest. On the sixth day, his command changed. Gather a double portion. Today, and on this day and this day only, the hoarded manna would not spoil. It remained fresh for the Sabbath. This is breathtaking. God is not against saving. He is not against planning. He built it into his system. But it was saving born from obedience, not fear. This double portion was God's divine permission slip for his people to rest, to cease from their labor, to enjoy their families, and to worship, fully confident that their needs were met. True financial peace is not just having enough. It's the freedom to stop striving. The Sabbath provision proves that God's plan includes abundance sufficient for us to rest in him. So let's bring this ancient secret into your life. Right now, the answer to your financial anxiety is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a spiritual posture. It is the daily, conscious decision to trust the provider over the provision. I want to give you a practical challenge. It's an exercise in rewiring your heart. This week, find a simple notebook and create what I call a daily manna journal. Every evening before you sleep, write down just one or two specific ways God provided for you that day. It might be a discount you received at the grocery store. It might be the energy to complete a difficult day at work. It might be a kind word that lifted your spirits. Write down the tangible evidence of his daily faithfulness. Do this for 7 days. Watch how the physical act of documenting today's provision begins to starve your anxiety about tomorrow. You are building a personal history of God's faithfulness, and that history is the foundation of unshakable peace. This is the prestige of faith in action, a faith that is not a fleeting feeling, but a deep, abiding trust that produces a peace the world cannot understand. If this message has given you a sense of hope, please subscribe to our community and like this video so that others who are wrestling with these same fears can find it. And in the comments below, please share, what is one what if that causes you the most financial anxiety? Let's bring these fears into the light and encourage one another. Thank you for being here. Remember, God's promise was not just bread, it was peace. His provision is not just for your needs, it is for your heart. Until next time, be at peace.